People enjoyed the beautiful sunset, or sunrise this morning. It's gorgeous. It had pinks and blues and absolutely beautiful. I love the mornings because I was a contractor in Orlando for over 25 years. I've been here about 2 years. Right, so I speak a little bit of California, but mainly Alabama and Floridian. But I'm trying. But what I want to tell everybody mainly is that I think outside the box. Being a contractor for so many years, I realized that people need an education to protect themselves. So when I moved here, I worked, for myself because my wife, I'm a caretaker as well, so I need to talk to you about that. I needed a job that I could do out of my home office. So being in the field so long, I decided to educate people. That way they can make an intelligent decision, because a lot of people know a little bit about their heating and cooling systems, but they don't know the details enough to know if they're getting a good deal from people. Because there's a lot of people out there, and I don't know what the percentages are here, but where I'm from, there was a small percentage of honest people, unfortunately. Mechanics in general. Ladies, for example, go to have their car worked on, they're very skeptical because they think that women don't have any knowledge on their automotive, and same with the industry that I'm in. Most of the time when I meet with a person, it is usually the lady because the guys work. When I meet with the lady, I try to have respect for her knowledge. As a matter of fact, that's what I do. I sit down with the people first. I'm going to try to follow the format here. I sit down with them first and find out what knowledge they do have and what they're looking for, what type of comfort system, and what they know about it. So that's the very first thing I do, sit at the kitchen table. And most of the time the man's at work. And like we all know, if the woman's happy, the man's happy. So it's a good, it works out real well. Once I find out what they're looking for, and most of the people here, I'm not saying anything bad about California, but the market in Florida and Orlando area was much more intense. Everybody there was into the high tech. They were in the expensive system because they used them 10 months out of the year. Here, all people are concerned about is heat, and the air conditioners, they want to buy the cheapest model, which is not really a smart thing to do. So I go over all the different systems and give them some insight on the advantages and the disadvantages of the different types of systems. And I'm starting to introduce heat pumps and mini splits, which is technology that people don't understand around here. And there's a new type of compressor that the Japanese have invented. And this compressor is revolutionizing the market. It is blowing Carrier and Trane, and they're starting to pay attention, and they're going, oh my God. Because Mitsubishi is the first people that came out with this compressor. And what it does, it varies the amount of refrigerant and the amount of cooling capacity from 1 ton to 4 ton with one compressor. And that is unbelievable, totally unbelievable. It's been out in the Japanese market for probably 10 years plus. It's been in the United States probably 5 or 6 years. And Trane and Carrier both are stepping up to the plate and going, hey, we got to build one of these. So they're starting to put their compressors in their units as well. But they're in the SEER ratings, which I'll explain. SEER rating is all it is miles per gallon. SEER rating is a fancy term for seasonal energy efficiency ratings, which just means miles per gallon. In other words, 14 SEER is the very minimum that the state of California will allow you to put in. 25 SEER is our possibility. But they're very expensive. You get what you pay for. You want the Mercedes, you're also going to get the benefits out of it as well. So I explain that to people. But these new compressors are unbelievable. They get up in the 19 to 25 SEER, no problem, very quiet. As a matter of fact, I put quite a few in Orlando. And the mini split system, which they first came out with. And it was so good because it would be outside if they put the system in, everybody's excited, but how's this thing going to run? How's it's going to sound like? So they're standing beside me and the technician that's installing it. And I get this same reaction every time. Oh my God, the compressor's not running. Yes ma'am, it is running. You see the gauges? It's pumping on this side, it's pumping on this side. It's that quiet. You cannot hear anything but the fan. You move it, you move in the air, and that's it. And they're amazing. Efficiency on them is great. But let me get back to my format here. After sitting down and talking to the people and finding out what they're looking for, what I basically do is analysis of what they have. I go through and look at what they have and their power supply, whether they have ductwork, if it's sized properly, which most of the time it's not. 8 out of 10 times, airflow is so important and people have no clue. They think you can just put a duct in here and a duct in there, and if you want to branch, if you want to add a room, let's just throw another duct in. It doesn't work like that. It's impossible to do that. All it does is mess up your system even more. Everything has to balance or you'll have uneven temperatures, which a lot of people do. And that's one thing that I really liked when I went to school, was learning about airflow. So that's one thing I really enjoy helping people with, is making even temperatures in each room. And that's easy for me, but sometimes we have to take the whole system out. You can't modify it. It is so poorly designed that I have to start from scratch. But when I finish, everybody's going to have even temperature in every room. Everything's going to flow properly. It's not going to have noisy grills. You're not going to hear the system run, you're just going to feel it. So the duct system has a lot to do with it. Third step is to check and make sure the local code requirements will meet their facility. In other words, people don't understand about property line distances. They don't understand about trees being in the way. California code as well as Florida, they're really close. You can't have restrictions for airflow around your AC. And of course you don't want the tree dropping leaves into the top of the fan unit. It's going to mess up the fan anyway, but they don't allow that. The distance between your indoor and your outdoor unit is very important. If you have your unit from your which we call the air handler, which is the furnace, is what they use here, is over 50 feet, you're going to lose efficiently tremendously. The efficiency of the unit is going to go down dramatically. So what I try to do is keep it under 30 feet. So I make sure that distance is possible. Sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes I've got to add refrigerant lines and increase the size of the refrigerant lines to compensate, which I can do. And then I've got to run new control wire. Also, after I check the code requirements, this is the fun part. I get to sit down at the kitchen table again and have coffee and teach the people. And after I find out what they want, what they need and what they want, then I go through the process of teaching them the different basics, the different types of systems, difference between heat pumps, different types of furnaces. There's ground water source heat pumps, there's ground source heat pumps, there's a tremendous amount of different systems, which I was lucky enough to live in Orlando where there's so many different types of systems. I had to learn them all because Georgia is very famous for ground source heat pumps. They're very expensive but very efficient. They use the water from the earth, which is normally 72 degrees year-round, which is a great advantage because all they do is use the water and extract the heat from the water in the wintertime, extract the cooling from the ground in the summertime. It's great, works perfect. But they're expensive, very closed-loop systems, very technical, and now we're getting to the point where when I started in this field, the thermostat was basic, little very simple on and off switch, is all it was. Now everything's a computer. You put a computer on the wall, basically, and you can be in Alaska and control your system in California. Humidity, your temperature of the room, the amount of airflow, because everything has gone to DC motors, which is cheaper to run, quieter to run, 10 times as expensive to put in, but they work a lot better, and the warranty is a lot better. So I explain all the different pros and cons. Do you want the Mercedes model that's going to last you for 25 years, and your power bill is going to drop like a rock? Or do you want to put the El Cheapo in, the 14 series, and your power bill is not going to be very great, you're not going to be very happy with the power bill. It will cool, and the humidity level is not going to be very good either because it's not designed. You're not going to buy a Kia and expect it to run like a Mercedes. It's just not going to happen. So I try to find out a middle ground is what I usually recommend. But a lot of high-tech people do understand, because there's a lot of people that are engineers here, and they do understand the quality, they understand the benefits, which is great, of buying a nice system. There's something they can depend on and something's going to operate properly. But the reason I'm in this field is because I realized that I want to help people. I don't charge a fee. I do this because I want to help people make a good decision. and I'm thinking outside the box. I'm not someone out there just to sell a product. Now, I do represent different companies. I have an independent license. I still have a current license in Florida. I have a license here. So what I do is I make a recommendation. You don't have to use the person I recommend, no problem. But the people that I do know in this area are honest. They have a very good reputation. You can look them up on Yelp. And I know that I'm referring them to a good person. So that's what it's all about. So I'm not the standard Fuller Brush salesman. I'm a person out to try to recommend and educate people so they can make an intelligent decision.
So how do you make any money if you're not charging?
Well, if I can't get the number to their safe, I guess I just sneak in the door at midnight. I don't know. I'm teasing. I'm teasing. No, the people that I recommend, the reputable companies, do pay me a commission.
Okay.
But like I said, that is not mandatory.
Right. Okay.
They can use anybody they want. They can call me and ask questions and go, hey, is this guy blowing smoke or what?
Okay.
And I'll be glad to help him going forward.
Can you just quickly explain what a heat pump is? And have you heard of the one of the divisions of Google or Alphabet? I get the Alphabet thing. Has designed some kind of a heat pump that uses the groundwater. But rather than having each house being individually designed, it is kind of a basic package that they just come out, and that one package can fit almost any house. And they're doing it back east mostly now because that's where they can make all the money with all the people needing it. But
Yeah, I think you're referring to a chiller.
is that what it is? Okay.
A chiller is a package unit in one stationary area. They can put it in one building by itself. And they have what they call fan coil units. And it does use water, which is what we call a secondary refrigerant. What they do, they heat or cool the water to a certain temperature. They're preset. Usually in a really big office building, they preset the temperature in the summer at 50 degrees. And they cool the water to 50 degrees, and they have these fan coil units in each individual space. You can be in each room, you can be in, however they zone it. They can zone it any way they want to. But normally it's in each room. And that fan coil unit is solenoid operated through the controller. And it will open and close the amount of water that comes in and out of the coil. And then, of course, they move air across the coil at 50 degrees, which is normally what you're going to get out the ducts anyway.
Yeah, this particular one, I think, is something to do with the fact that the way they do these heat pumps is they actually drill down into the earth and get the water down there.
Right.
And each individual house
Right.
has a whole bunch of different places where they have to drill.
Right.
And this, somehow, they've made an algorithm that can just kind of take and automatically just says, all right, we can drill all these things for every house we do, so we don't have to design it. And we just actually put it in there, and it works well for all of them.
But that's a ground source heat pump.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a water source heat pump, is what it's called. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They are fantastic. They've been using them in Georgia. I don't know why Georgia, but there's companies there that specialize just in ground source and water source heat pumps. And I bought one for a guy that had I was just telling Jack here about it earlier. There was a guy that had a hunting lodge in the Carolinas, and I ordered one for him. 20 more minutes.
We can stay after though, visit with you.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. I'll talk to you about
Okay,
it.
great, thank you very
But
much.
those are great systems.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.